I want to welcome you to this special Lauderdale Lead for the month of April. Our vision at Lauderdale Lead is simple. We want South Florida to be the best place to live, to work, and raise a family. And we are so glad that we are able to bring this month's Lauderdale Lead to you virtually through this live stream. We are certainly living in unprecedented times. And about just a month ago, our world and our lives and our organizations as leaders, it was all turned upside down. We are certainly living in difficult times. And so for this unprecedented moment, I want to talk to you as leaders today briefly about what it means to lead in difficult times. But here's the reality. 2 years from now, it is my hope and prayer that this pandemic is gone, that we'll be able to say that we got through it and we navigated these difficult times and these difficult waters of this global pandemic. But here's the reality. There will be another difficult season. There will be another crisis. Maybe not as global, maybe not as wide sweeping and as broad as this global pandemic of COVID-19. But as leaders, this is what we're called to. We are called to face crises like this and difficult times like this head on. Great leaders lead well in difficult times. And I understand that everyone in this moment is overwhelmed. From one end of the globe to the other end of the globe, everyone is overwhelmed. But I want to just acknowledge right off the bat this afternoon that as a leader, the leaders that are listening to this talk today, I understand and I want to acknowledge that the pressure that you are feeling is overwhelming. It's different because while there's people out there right now that are worried and focused on their job and their paycheck, you're having to worry as a leader about 10 people's paycheck. You're having to worry about 100 people's employment. I have a best friend in Atlanta who right now is having to think through 800 different employees and what their future is going to look like. You as a leader are not just thinking and concerned about your family, you're concerned with tens, maybe hundreds of other families and their future. And I understand and I just want to acknowledge how overwhelming this time is. And you are navigating these waters. You're navigating these times as a leader with very little understanding of the future. You have a global pandemic and you have an unstable economy and very little facts in front of you. And you are called as a leader to navigate these difficult times with a great deal of uncertainty. So let me just say, I want you to take the pressure off. This is not a time to ask yourself or call yourself or be called to lead perfectly. There's no such thing as perfect leadership, and there never will be such thing as perfect leadership. And now certainly is not the time to be a perfect leader. You are navigating through uncharted waters, through an unprecedented moment. I myself, full disclosure, am second guessing myself at every moment of every day. And probably 2 years from now, we'll look back as leaders and go, I probably should have moved quicker on that decision and a little slower on that decision. Probably should have made more margin over here and probably shouldn't have been as concerned over here. We should have probably worried about this in Q3 instead of Q1. Whatever it might be, more than likely years from now we'll look back and realize that everything wasn't done perfectly. But that's not an excuse to not lead well, to not lead yourself well, and to not lead your organization well during this season. Let me make this very clear. There has never been a time where great leadership has been needed in our region and in our organizations. This is the time for great leaders to step up to the plate and lead well during difficult times. Unprecedented moments like this lead to unprecedented opportunities. Unprecedented moments lead to unprecedented opportunities. And I want to talk about those opportunities briefly in this talk, Leading in Difficult Times. I want to give you 3 simple things that you need to do today, if you haven't done so already as a leader, to turn this unprecedented moment into an unprecedented opportunity for you and for the organization and the people you lead. The first thing we need to do in order to lead well is we need to, number 1, refocus the vision. Refocus the vision. What's a simple definition of vision? Simple definition of vision is this. We need to understand that vision is what we aspire to be as an organization. Your vision should be far-reaching. Your vision should be future-oriented. It should be audacious and big. And let me say that regardless of the circumstance, your vision as an organization should never change. It's where you're going. It's what you aspire to be as a leader and what you aspire to accomplish as an organization. And let me say, if your vision does have to change in these moments, then your vision wasn't very worthwhile. Your vision should be so steady and so long-lasting and so stable that it should be rock solid and it should be immovable as a vision regardless of the circumstance. But this is what we need to do in refocusing the vision. What seemed to be a priority a month ago is not a priority today, or at least it shouldn't be. What seemed to be distracting you and consuming you and your organization a month ago shouldn't be distracting and consuming you today. Take advantage of this opportunity for yourself and for your team and organization to refocus on what the ultimate goal is for your organization. What is the ultimate vision? And how have we allowed distractions and busy work and maybe people and unnecessary expenditures to really distract us and keep us from achieving the vision that we as an organization have been called to? I am just as guilty of this. I get so busy and so distracted in the everyday nuances of life and work that I sometimes forget ultimately where are we heading as an organization. I would be amiss if I did not challenge and encourage you as a leader. Take full advantage of this moment. What's been distracting you and your employees? What's been distracting your organization? What are expenditures that we can cut, right? If cash is king right now for our organizations, where are those margins and what are those savings that we need to take advantage of right now in this moment? What are the things that we can eliminate? What are the distractions we can do away with in order to refocus the vision? We need right now leaders and the teams they are leading to have a passionate commitment to the vision of their organization. If we cannot refocus the vision, we will lose. We need to focus all of our energy right now on what matters the most and remove everything else that is distracting you and distracting your organization. We need to refocus the vision. The second thing is this: leaders who lead well in difficult times, they need to rethink the mission. If vision is where we're going and the vision never changes, mission is this. Mission is your plan for accomplishing your vision. This is your roadmap. How are you going to get to your vision? How are you, as an organization, going to achieve your vision? You need a mission. You need a game plan. But as I said, vision never changes. Not so with mission. Your mission and your game plan, your methodology for how you're accomplishing your vision has to change, and it has to change in radical ways. Our vision here at Coral Ridge is to equip people. We want to equip gospel-centered, culture-shaping Christians. And I know for some of you, that means very little. But think about your own context. What do you want to achieve and what do you aspire to do as an organization? Now you need to step back and say, here was our roadmap and our game plan a month ago, and let's throw it out the window and reinvent what we do and our game plan for success in order to accomplish our vision. We need to not only refocus our vision, but we need to rethink our mission. We need a whole new game plan for success. What you thought was successful a month ago needs to be totally drawn up in a whole new game plan. Now, this will require extreme flexibility and extreme innovation. Extreme flexibility and extreme innovation. This will require you as a leader and the people that you are leading to think outside the box. Flexibility like never before as far as job descriptions. You cannot have people on your team that say, well, that's not in my job description. Well, that might not have been in your job description a month ago, but guess what? It's a whole new world today. So we need to think outside the box, redefine what we do as an organization and how we do it. We need to be flexible and innovative. Now, you might be asking, how do you do that? How do you just draw up a new game plan? We've been doing the same game plan for the last decade. How in the world do you now draw up a new game plan? Well, I think this will require a lot of work, but I think there's 3 simple questions you need to ask yourself and your team needs to ask to get the conversation started. The first question in rethinking the mission is ask yourself this question: what problem is no one else addressing? Think about your industry. Think about your community. Is there a problem out there as a result of this pandemic and as a result of the economic crisis that no one else is addressing? Maybe there is now a new space that my organization or my team can address that no one else is addressing. That will help you to chart a new path and to develop a new game plan in rethinking your mission. Another question you can ask: what is most important to our organization as you face this crisis? It doesn't mean that every single thing in your game plan gets tossed out the window, but you've got to prioritize. You've got to figure out there's certain things that we must do, but it just must be done differently. For us, the most important thing we do as a church is our Sunday morning worship service. Now, we found out quickly that we weren't going to get anybody here on campus. So from the very beginning, part of rethinking our mission was thinking about a whole new way in which we were going to reach our congregation and reach our community. So better believe that we, from day one, said this is the most important thing. Therefore, we need a whole new game plan for how we do Sunday morning worship service on a regular basis. But you've got to ask yourself, what's the most important thing that we do? And allow that to dictate your new game plan for success. A third question you can ask in rethinking the mission and developing a new game plan is, what is our organization able to do best? What can we do today with our current assets, with our current human resources, with our public perception, whatever it might be? What are we able to do best that no one else can do? And then maybe scale up to accomplish it. So ask those 3 questions. This is just a starter. I realize it's way more complicated than that. In drawing up a new game plan, ask the questions: what problems no one addressing, what is most important to our organization, and what is our organization able to do best as you are rethinking your mission and drawing up a whole new game plan for accomplishing the vision that you've been called to as a leader, as an organization. So we refocus the vision, we rethink the mission. Third and lastly, we need to reaffirm your people. You need to reaffirm your people. Who are your people? For me, my people are my staff. My people are my congregation. My people are my elders and my deacons. For you, it's your direct reports. It's your customers. It's your vendors. It's maybe your board of directors. It's your key stakeholders. But you've got to identify who are your people and reaffirm them again and again and again and again. Now, you might ask the question, how do I reaffirm them? The chief way that you can reaffirm your people right now is through communication. Just when you think you have communicated enough to your people and to your key stakeholders, think again. Communicate over and over and over again. And let me just say, we are living in a time where we have more communication resources at our disposal than anyone else has ever had in the history of the world. Communication is so simple and so easy. Let's take advantage of it. One of the greatest ways, let me be very clear, to reaffirm your people is to communicate over and over and over again. A month ago, we were communicating with our people here at Coral Ridge about twice a week. Now, we are finding an excuse to communicate with our people almost every single day. You need to remember, you have information as a leader that the other people don't. Don't leave them guessing. Let them know where you're going. Let them know what's happening. They need to see you. They need to see you visibly, and they need to hear from you. Share your heart. Share what you're concerned about. Share where you're going as an organization. Be in front of them. Communicate, communicate, communicate. This is the best way in which you can reaffirm your people. Another way you can reaffirm your people is speaking honestly to them. Define reality for them as an organization. Listen, I hate to break it to you. Your people are not very concerned about how you're going to make payroll next week and not very concerned about your cash flow forecast. Can I tell you what they're concerned about? Your people are concerned about whether they're going to receive a paycheck. They're concerned about their livelihood. They're concerned about their future. So are you giving people the affirmation they need to come to you and speak freely to you? Are you creating such an environment during this time of chaos and in this time of fear and in this time of uncertainty where your people have the freedom to come talk honestly to you and you're able to affirm them as the leader and say, I can't imagine the pressures on you. Now, you only see what you see on a Zoom call with your employees. You don't know the pressures that are going on at home behind closed doors. Remember, your people are people. Your staff have real pressures and real stresses. There's marriages and children. And all of a sudden, you've got to remember some of your employees are now trying to do 4 different things under one roof. They're trying to make their marriage work. They're trying to raise their children. They're trying to please you as the employer, and they're trying to teach their kids virtually. All overnight, this has changed. So reaffirm them. Reaffirm the stresses that they're feeling and the anxiety that they might be facing, and create an environment where they're able to speak back to you. So speak honestly to them and communicate, communicate, communicate. We need to be reaffirming our people. And just when you think they don't need more affirmation, think again. There's never been a time where your people as the leader, where you as the leader need to be reaffirming, giving hope, giving inspiration, and giving encouragement to the people that you are leading. We need to refocus, we need to rethink, and we need to reaffirm. Florence Chadwick was an Olympic swimmer in the 1940s and 1950s. And in 1952, Florence Chadwick set out to do what never had been done before. She attempted to swim the 28-mile stretch known as the Catalina Straits off the coast of California. The Straits of Catalina were known for their very cold, choppy, shark-infested waters. And so she sets out in 1952. And it was an incredibly stormy day, choppy waters, even more than usual. And her head keeps going down, and she keeps looking at the boats that are surrounding her. She had boats on either side of her. She keeps looking to them. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can make it to the shore. I don't know if I can make it to 28 miles. And then finally she has enough. And she waves her arms in distress, begging to be pulled out at the 17th hour. And as they pull her out, they tell her, Florence, did you realize you were only a half a mile from shore? What happened? And she said, as the fog set in, I lost visibility and I lost sight of the finish line. Leaders, we are in those stormy waters and the fog has set in, and we don't even know what next week will bring, let alone what next month will bring. But as leaders, this is our moment. This is our moment to lead well. Great leaders persevere and fight through the fog. Great leaders refocus, rethink, and reaffirm and lead well. I've been saying from the beginning of this talk that this is an unprecedented time. I guarantee that no one listening to this message today or at any time has ever lived in a moment like this. the last generation to face a crisis that reached from one end of the globe to the other was World War II. And as they persevered through those difficult times, and as they persevered through World War II and then the Great Depression, what was that generation known as? They were known as the greatest generation. They were known as the people that saved the world and changed it forever. What will future generations say about us? What will future generations say about this generation of leaders? I hope that future generations will look back at this moment and see men and women who rise to the occasion and fought through the fog and fought through the storm and persevered through the most difficult of times. And they say this is the moment that those leaders had their finest hour as leaders of our region and leaders of the organizations that they lead. I want you to know that we are praying for you. At Lauderdale Lead and Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church, we are praying for our leaders. And I know that the typical person that comes to Lauderdale Lead, that not everybody believes the same thing. I know that many that come to Lauderdale Lead are not even religious. And so me saying I'm praying for you might mean 100 different things. But please know that we are for you and that we are with you, because we are not interested here at Coral Ridge in building a great church. We're interested in building a great city. And therefore, I want you to know that we stand with you and we stand ready to serve you as leaders on the front lines. We stand ready to serve you and support you in any way possible. So would you let us know how we can serve you and support you as leaders of our businesses here in South Florida during this time? Because here's the reality. If our leaders are flourishing, our organizations will flourish. And if our organizations are flourishing, then our city will flourish as well. Do not forget this. Unprecedented moments lead to unprecedented opportunities. Unprecedented moments lead to unprecedented opportunities. Let's not waste this moment. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today to this April edition of Lauderdale Lead. I want to encourage you, if there's a leader in your life that you know that needs encouragement, that needs to maybe rethink and refocus right now, would you share this link with them sometime today or sometime later this weekend? And I want to invite you to come back and join us right here via live stream at our May Lauderdale Lead, May 14th, 12 noon, right here at crpc.tv. Leaders, let's refocus, let's rethink, and let's reaffirm, and let's lead in such a way and better than ever before. Thank you so much.